You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
He's a con man, period.
And today, Rosie's back on live TV, not just to joke, but to drop a truth bomb that Donald Trump did not see coming.
Bankrupt all these times, money from his father, not a self-made man, can't quantify his riches on Forbes magazine. I just said facts, and you would think that I called his mother a whore. You know, he went insane. And for 20 years, he's been using me as a punching bag.
Are you watching this moron speak? Can he form a coherent sentence? He is the worst thing that ever happened. Period. And he's just babbling like an incoherent asshole. He's like Dr. Doom. He's the worst thing. Oh, you know what? He just lies, lies, lies. I am done with Donald Trump. Let's be done with Donald, okay? Done with Donald.
So what happens when one of Trump's oldest rivals goes live on air and calls him a con man to his face? Now, the fight escalated into something bigger than a personal rivalry. Everything you're about to hear comes from real interviews, public records, and as you'll see, this moment was only the beginning.
No, he's the only one because he's a con man. That's the bottom line. You know, he's selling things from the office. He's taking money and gifts from other countries, the emoluments clause. He's breaking every law and every rule that we have in our country, and no one seems to be able to stop.
For Rosie, this wasn't just a feud. It was a warning, and the words only sharpened when the cameras kept rolling.
You know, he is the kind of person that is a grifter, and he is an evangelical preacher to people who believed that Celebrity Apprentice was true. He is a cruel, criminal, and mentally unstable man. And Duty to Warn was a book that came out when he was first in office. Psychiatrists across the country who don't ever really diagnose people that they don't serve personally came together and made a book, Duty to Warn, to tell the world what a narcissistic, mentally ill person he is. And I think he's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States, and his cruelty knows no bounds. And when he is upset and humiliated and embarrassed, he has no control, and he goes apeshit.
She looked straight at the camera and called it what she believed was a scam. Not a scandal, not a misunderstanding, but a full-blown con. And if you're nodding along with Rosie or just want to see how deep this really goes, hit subscribe. You won't want to miss what's next.
The beef between you and Donald Trump go back to the days of when you were a talk show host comedian. Mm-hmm. He was a personality.
A reality show. He had The Apprentice.
Yeah.
Which was all fiction.
Yes.
And a lot of people in America didn't know that it was fiction because they sold him as America's biggest successful businessman. Mm-hmm. And he had been bankrupt 6 times. And he had lots of charges of sexual abuse against him. And he is, known for lying and for corruption. And he had a charity that he and his family now can never do a charity again in New York because they stole money from children who had cancer.
That tone isn't new. Rosie O'Donnell has been one of Trump's loudest critics since their first clash back in 2006. And over the years, her accusations have gone beyond personal insults.
I remember Joy Behar saying, "You're not going to say that out there," because he had a press conference right before we were live where he had a teenager, Tara O'Connor, who was Miss Teen USA. She had kissed a girl in the Village, and they took a picture and put it on all the newspapers. And he made her do a press conference where she apologized, and it looked to me like a pimp and a prostitute. And I said that on the air, and then I proceeded to list facts, not hyperbole, just facts about who he was and what he did.
We've sort of made the joke on the show that he's flip-flopped on everything except you.
It's actually very true.
Yeah.
You know, there was a Tara O'Connor, I believe her name was, a young Irish lass who was Junior Miss Trump Atlantic City pageant sexist winner. And she was downtown, 19-year-old girl, drinking and kissing a girl.
and it was on the cover of the Post. So he held a press conference right before The View went on live, and he said, just want you to know I've forgiven her. And this young woman, I'm like, what is he, the pimp? And she's the prostitute? And who is he? He's the moral arbiter of 20-year-old behavior now, right?
For Rosie, the tragedy isn't that Trump became president. It's that reality TV trained America to trust a man whose greatest talent was pretending to fire people on cue.
I want to talk about how it feels to have this corrupt sexual predator be the leader of the free world. And if you were a child who grew up in the home with a male sexual predator, how unbelievably triggering this is, and how so many people are living with intense PTSD as a result of this man. I think part of the reason that all of these sexual abuse issues are coming out is because he was so blatantly dismissive of his sexual predation.
That moment on The View drew laughs in the studio, but it also highlighted what critics saw as a double standard. While Trump staged a press conference to lecture a teenager about morality, Rosie and others pointed back to his own financial and ethical controversies.
So, as bad as everyone feels, and they have felt since November 8th, I know for me, I've been in a severe depression, although I'd like to say, today after your show, I'm going to get a Bob Mueller tattoo.
Oh, that's exciting.
Because I love him.
Where are you going to put it? Have you thought about where you're going to put it?
Right over my heart. I'm so in love with Bob Mueller. I want to get posters. I want to meet him.
But wait until you hear what happened the night Trump actually won. Rosie didn't just react, she unraveled. And what she says next might be the most brutally honest thing she's ever shared. Stay with us.
There's no safety in the world. And all of that came right up when he, first of all, when he announced, I was like laughing my ass off.
Same here.
He was on that little escalator down with the fake crowd going, look, here's my wife who loves me. And she's like, how do I get out of here? Right? And I just thought it would never happen.
For Rosie, November 8th was a breaking point. She says the moment Trump won, it felt like the ground dropped beneath her, and she fell into what she calls a severe depression.
Do you think it's going to be okay for me to be there? Or what if he wins? She's like, Rosie, you really have to start working on your negative loop in your brain. He is not going to win. Every smart person knows he is not going to win. That night, I was like, listen, you wench. I am here and I have no Xanax!
Rosie recalls that moment like a scene out of a bad sitcom. A fake crowd, a golden escalator, and a man announcing a campaign with the confidence of someone selling condos, not leading a country.
What Donald Trump is doing is trying to become an authoritarian, a dictator, and he is the worst thing that ever happened to this nation. And I totally disagree with you saying that he didn't have anything to do with the insurrection, that he didn't instigate it, plan it, demand it of his fans, because he did, Bill. He did.
Just when it seemed over, Trump did what he always does, made it personal. Under pressure, he didn't fight with facts. He went after Rosie, again. And what came next? Beyond petty, flat-out absurd.
President Trump has ignited a new war with Rosie O'Donnell. He says he's thinking of revoking her U.S. citizenship. Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interest of our great country. I am giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship, he wrote on Truth Social. He dug in even deeper at Andrews Air Force Base Sunday.
I don't know about Rosie. I watch Rosie. Rosie's a mess. She's a mess. But she left our country, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Instead of addressing actual controversies swirling around him, Trump picked a familiar target, Rosie, and his response? A threat to revoke her citizenship.
But if you know Trump, he can always just pivot to the classic Trump distraction. Throw something outlandish out there and watch the dogs chase the squirrel. I'm going to invade Greenland. I'm going to bomb Iran. He's going to try something big.
President Trump is reigniting his decades-long feud with comedian Rosie O'Donnell.
I think we're going to need a bigger boat. That's not going to be enough.
The president taking to his social media platform to write in part, quote, I'm giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship. She's a threat to humanity and should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland if they want her.
Don't look at our inaction at prosecuting a sex trafficking ring to the rich and powerful. We must focus on the real issue. The denaturalization of the co-star of Riding the Bus with My Sister.
According to John, Trump's idea of crisis management was to announce on social media, no less, that he was giving serious consideration to taking away Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. The reason? He called her a threat to humanity.
Trump has always hated the fact that I see him for who he is, a criminal con man, sexual abusing liar, out to harm our nation to serve himself. This is why I moved to Ireland. O'Donnell also went on radio in Ireland addressing his threat to yank her citizenship, even though she was born in the USA.
I know he can't do that, but the Supreme Court has given him unbridled powers, and who knows what he can and can't do.
True, Rosie O'Donnell was born in Long Island in 1962. She's a natural-born citizen. And in the U.S., that right doesn't get revoked because of hurt feelings.
The last one was Trump picking a fight with our former View co-host, Rosie O'Donnell, threatening to take away her citizenship. So, the base doesn't like Rosie. Let me just say this. This is not North Korea. This is not a monarchy. Donald Trump and no precedent has the authority or jurisdiction to unilaterally take anybody's citizenship away. Yeah. Rosie O'Donnell is a natural-born U.S. citizen.
Every claim here is grounded in public records, on-camera interviews, and confirmed reporting. Stick around, because the next part might just explain why Rosie started looking for a new country.
I would like to be able to maintain my American citizenship. It's where I was raised and born and where I'm from. But I'm very happy to get my Irish citizenship as well. However, it is unconstitutional to take anyone's citizenship away once you're a citizen. At the moment is right. And it's a beautiful thing to just human to human, but it's an overwhelming thing for me emotionally. And part of the reason that I moved to Ireland, and there was no other choice, I was only coming here. I'm 100% Irish on my DNA. And I wanted to come back to my homeland where my people are from.
Rosie pushed back, pointing out she was born in Long Island in 1962, a natural-born citizen. And while she made it clear she's proud to be American, she also revealed a backup plan.
But the Supreme Court has given him carte blanche, so he can pretty much do what he wants, this very corrupt Supreme Court and this very corrupt Senate, because they just recently voted not to release the Epstein files in the middle of the night, like criminals, hiding. And when reporters stop them and talk, they run to the elevator there in the Senate buildings, and they don't answer for their constituents. And all of these people are as guilty as he is for all of his crimes.
Complicit.
Yes.
For Rosie, moving overseas wasn't just symbolic. It was self-preservation, and audiences could hear the mix of exhaustion and relief in her voice.
It's very depressing. And it seems very strange to me that the President of the United States has so many friends who are sexual abusers. How long do all of the voices against this horrific administration have in terms of their careers and ability to make money? Because this madman, this mentally incapacitated, physically ill, mentally ill man is spiraling out of control.
That frustration tapped into a wider concern. Late-night votes, sealed files, lawmakers dodging cameras. Rosie wasn't just calling out Trump. She was questioning the institutions meant to check him.
Venous insufficiency, which has led to swelling of the ankles and some marks on his hand and a complexion that looks pretty ghastly.
Well, that's a spray tan. That's a choice.
No, but it's when it, the way it frays around the eyes and all of that.
Yes. Yeah, well, he doesn't look well. He's not a healthy man.
Rosie's comments about Trump's health drew laughs from the audience, but her point was serious. The image of strength he projected didn't match the signs she described on stage.
I think it's very funny, and he lives in a deluded reality where he believes his own lies. So when he has to come out and tries to speak to his base, he takes pictures of himself as Superman with, a cartoon version of and he's the polar opposite of everything he represents.
That contrast between swollen ankles and superhero posters was hard to miss. Even late-night hosts replayed these moments, pointing to the irony of a leader who built his brand on strength while leaning on make-believe.
I cannot believe that every Republican congressman or woman, every Republican senator is stupid.
Well, they're not stupid, but they're definitely afraid of him. People in America are afraid of him. They're afraid to stand up to him, against him.
For longtime New Yorkers, that claim rang familiar. Trump's name was everywhere, but his finances often weren't. Rosie framed it as a pattern, image over reality.
Yes.
Becomes the president.
Unreal. And for me, in 2006, when he was just a embarrassment in New York, nobody respected him in any way. Forbes never would put him on the richest people list because they couldn't verify his income because he was often broke. He's a con man, period. He believes his lies. I believe he only believes the reality in his world, which is why when someone forces him to face the truth of his own actions and his own essence, he goes crazy because he can't believe that somebody would dare do that.
And in her view, that disconnect explained the outbursts. A man shaped by headlines, shows, and applause now struggling with the weight of reality.
Once you have your citizenship, you're over 35, you can run for president.
Me and Conor McGregor, those are the two famous people running. No, I would never want to be in politics because I'm much too emotional. I'm a very emotional person. I pick on vulnerable minorities first. They came for the handicapped first. And then they came for the gay and trans people. And I knew that I had to keep my mental health. It was for self-preservation, that I wouldn't be able to live in a country and watch him dismantle it, as he has done.
She may joke about running alongside Conor McGregor, but Rosie makes one thing crystal clear. Politics isn't her arena. But maybe that's exactly what makes her voice so resonant. Because while she won't be on any ballot, she's still confronting the political with personal truth.
He's the moral authority. Left the first wife, had an affair. Left the second wife, had an affair. Had kids both times, but he's the moral compass for 20-year-olds in America. Donald, sit and spin, my friend. I don't know. I just think that this man is like sort of one of those, snake oil salesmen in Little House on the Prairie. You remember that episode where the guy would come in with a lot of bottles and everybody would be like, ooh, and then he'd leave and little Laura Ingalls would go, Dad, I don't think there's anything in this bottle. Well, you're right, Half Pint. That man was full of crap.
From the day Rosie called him out on national TV to the moment Trump threatened to strip her of her citizenship, their decades-long feud has become more than just personal. It's political theater at its most unfiltered. What began as a sharp jab at hypocrisy exploded into a years-long firestorm of insults, press conferences, legal threats, and yes, even spray tans gone rogue. Along the way, Rosie became an unlikely mirror to Trump's contradictions, exposing the cracks in his self-made myth, calling out his cruelty toward marginalized groups, and refusing to stay silent even when the cost was high. And maybe that's what this all comes down to. A woman with a mic and a man who can't stand the sound of dissent. This video covers a live television moment where Rosie O'Donnell made public remarks about Donald Trump, which sparked significant reactions. The content is based on verified footage and widely reported media coverage. We aim to present the facts and public reactions accurately, without distortion or exaggeration. This video complies fully with YouTube's community guidelines and fair use policy for political commentary, media analysis, and public interest. If you found this video engaging or insightful, feel free to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.